Welcome to the Digital I Ching Library Companion playlist. This is Hexagram for Youthful Folly. If you have questions on the application, language, or terms in this material, watch Introduction Part 1 and Part 2 of the series. This hexagram is the story of the student learner. It's the wonder of youth and learning. Line 1 is about breaking the shackles of ignorance. Line 2 is the broad-minded tolerance of the wise and patient teacher. Line 3 is about rejecting superficiality and the danger of imitation and of the cult of personality. Line 4 talks about the entangled ego and the warning of willful ignorance. Line 5 represents the humble beginner's mindset and the virtuous receptive student that a teacher adores to teach. Line 6 is the lesson of prevention over punishment and the course correction for learning further. When performing a digital draw and receiving this hexagram, it's simply a time to learn lessons, learn something new, correct mistakes, or get curious to progress a little bit further. The state of inexperience here is a blessing, and it shows us where it is that we're lacking in our understanding, and there's no shame in general ignorance. We all start out this way. This is why teaching in the I Ching is important for correction, maturity, and gaining life experience. You're about to learn something, and sometimes we can succeed despite our ignorance, though it's rare, it can happen. Keep an open mind and a curious disposition. You're about to find that you either need to learn or know something in order to progress on your initiative, or you're about to come into some information that will put you on the path towards your goal. Finding the right source of information or a teacher or a mentor here is crucial. Knowledge is having information, but wisdom is putting that knowledge into an actionable framework and living uprightly with the awareness of action and consequence. Admitting that you don't have all the answers is the first step towards becoming a master. The judgment of Hexagram 4 states, "Youthful folly has success. It is not I who seeks the young fool seeks me. At the first oracle I inform them. If they ask 2 or 3 times, it's importunity. If they importune, I give them no information. Perseverance furthers." This is one of the few instances in the I Ching where the oracle talks to the seeker in the first person. When it says, "At the first oracle I inform them," it means the oracle will gladly answer your first inquiry, and that first answer is indeed the answer that you need to hear, and you should accept it. Now, when it says if they ask 2 or 3 times, it's importunity, it's saying that if you ask the same question again and again for a better, different answer, it'll know that you're pestering it and it will give incorrect or misleading answers thereafter if you continue to importune or nag at it to force it to say what you want it to. If you approach the oracle with a sincere, patient, and humble heart, it will yield its secrets to you, but only if you have the intent to listen and to understand it. The image of Hexagram 4 states, "A spring wells up at the foot of the mountain," the image of youth. Thus, the superior one fosters their character by thoroughness in all that they do. Thoroughness here in this image means operating within boundaries that help cultivate your flow and to not skip any step, no matter how inconsequential it might appear at first. The tedious task and boring repetitive lessons that we take for granted are building a character that outweighs the results that we're looking to reach. You're becoming the person that you need to be when you reach the finish line. Look at rules and regulations not as a ball and a chain meant to trap you, but as a guidepost. They're meant to give you direction and force to complete your endeavor. A changing line 1 states, "To make a fool develop, it furthers to apply discipline. The fetters should be removed. To go on in this way brings humiliation." This line is the line where all learners begin. This is about breaking bad habits or ways of thinking that hinder your progress. You need to unshackle yourself from doubts, fears, or even incorrect assumptions about your path forward. Like a river being cleared of debris and garbage, create a routine to self-evaluate what isn't working for you and what needs to be discarded in order for you to move forward. You may be advised not to become a slave to your own whims, your lack of focus, poor habits, distractions, arrogance, negative assumptions, or old, incorrect ways of thinking. Being provided structure and discipline to change old routines is the answer to foster greater character. To continue on without discarding the shackles or fetters in this line that bind you would bring eventual humiliation. A changing line 2. To bear with fools in kindliness brings good fortune. To know how to understand women brings good fortune. The son is capable of taking charge of the household. My teacher once told me, "Knowing how to deal with the ignorant with kindness is a virtue. To deal with the truly stupid is the stuff of sainthood. When it says to know how to understand women brings good fortune, it means knowing how to lead with receptivity and groundedness in order to meet people where they are in their journey of life. There's no need to be threatened by the ignorance of others. If you're a teacher, this is instructing you to be broad enough to contain the chaos of beginners. To bear with fools means not being a doormat, but providing a safe place for others to grow. Like the eldest son who has learned the most in the family so far, taking charge of the household, you will have the necessary balance to take charge as well as fostering growth with patience and gentleness in your circumstance. A changing line 3. Take not a maiden who, when she sees a man of bronze, loses possession of herself. Nothing furthers. The theme of this line is about kindly and carefully discarding superficiality in those of weak character. This is describing someone who is dazzled by appearances, fame, looks, or fortune rather than someone who is looking for internal substance or wisdom. This line can apply to students as well as possible love prospects. This can indicate a person who only looks at what they can gain from a connection. This may also describe someone who is very surface level, or they may have uncontrollable urges or emotions. They may be incapable of self-control. Likewise, don't seek a mentor or hero that you look up to get sucked into the guru trap just because they look successful on the outside. Character and grit beat out fancy cars, influencers, and monetary gain. In a nuanced spiritual reading, this can indicate an overactive solar plexus chakra. Initiative and action here are coalescing with impure motives or a desire to mirror someone else's structure or their work. A changing line 4. Entangled folly brings humiliation. This line is talking about letting the truly delusional, egotistical, or flighty take their own course. This is an individual who is trapped in an endless web of assumptions, fanciful daydreams, or unrealistic scenarios rather than being grounded in what is real and tangible. In social and professional circles, this can describe the echo chamber effect of someone trapped in a particular bubble or niche that doesn't allow objectivity to inform their experience. In other social situations, especially professional situations, this is about being surrounded by sycophants or yes men. If you have drawn this hexagram and it's about yourself, the oracle is gently shaking you awake from what isn't realistic or even remotely possible at this time. It asks you to return to groundedness to prevent a broken heart. In a nuanced spiritual reading, this can indicate a deficient heart chakra. Previous trauma regarding self-worth and emotion can invite struggles with self-image and self-inflation. A changing line 5. Childlike folly brings good fortune. This is the line where childlike curiosity and wonder will take you incredibly far. This is the line of the star student. Embrace the humble fact that you don't know everything and approach new territories with fervent curiosity. People are more likely to help a doughy-eyed, sincere beginner than a pretentious jerk. Being receptive right now is a virtue, not a liability. The oracle is complimenting you on having the right attitude on approaching a problem where you need to learn in order to progress. You are removing the ego blockages that stop most people from growing. You're not ignorant, you're teachable. You're the student every teacher wants to teach. This is also the line of asking lots of questions, just as a child does when they're learning and they're curious when they're young. A changing line 6. In punishing folly, it does not further one to commit transgressions. The only thing that furthers is to prevent transgressions. The theme of this line is to exercise preventative measures. If you want to prevent transgressions, change the environment. The goal is rehabilitation and protection, not vengeance. These preventative measures should make the wrong path unattractive and difficult to walk for the student learner. If you're a teacher, don't lose your cool. If you become cruel in order to punish cruelty, you perpetuate the cycle. You lose your authority to teach. Don't become the monster that you're trying to fix. If this is a personal reading about self-improvement, the oracle is telling you that a poor habit or a routine needs correction. And by correction, it means outright prevention to stop the reoccurring habit that is harmful to you. In a very highly nuanced reading, this can also indicate a lost cause scenario. If someone is a lost cause, part ways with them firmly, but do not seek to purge them with malice. If you have general questions, would like to contribute insight on this material for future content, have a request on something that you'd like to learn next, or would like a free consultation for interpreting this specific material or material from a previous I Ching reading that you've received, reach out to oracleodysseyinquiry@gmail.com. See you later.